Yeah, that'd probably be fine if we do 30. So every tree on our 600 feet of line is going to have to be readjusted. So we're going to mark where each tree is going to have to go, and then Eric's going to untension the line down there and then let the whole thing just fall. I think we can make it work. After we went through and restrung up the line and measured everything to make sure that we had a nice downhill flow, we realized there was another problem. All of the taps were going to be tapped way above our heads. Like, we were looking at like 15 feet in the air to tap the trees. That's not good. So after some thought and a little deliberation, we decided to go back home for lunch and do some research. And we actually found out that we can put our maple sap pump on the ground. Now previously it was going to be on this table, which is about, I don't know, 3.5 feet to 4 feet up off the ground. Because we figured we'd flow down to there, and then from there it would be able to pump it straight over to our tank. And the tank is going to be about the same height. Easy peasy, right? Well, those 4 feet really make a difference when you don't have much uphill slope from the ending point of your maple sap run to the beginning, and we don't. Now, there are lots of people that have very hilly areas where they tap their trees and everything just shoots straight down right into their tank. We're not that lucky. Pretty much it is nearly flat, not quite, but there's a very gentle slope. So to compensate for that, we have to start on the ground. So here is our maple ending point, and it was right where those nails are in that tree right there. That's where it was going to end. So that's a whole 3.5, 4 feet difference. So 3.5 to 4 feet at the bottom allowed us to come down 3.5 to 4 feet at the very end of our line. So now it's at a more reasonable height to tap the trees, at least I'm hoping. So these were the original way that we were attaching our lines on. The lines were gonna just sit right up there on that. The problem is that if, say, a tree falls on the line, it's not gonna break off from this. It'll actually probably end up snapping the line, and that's an issue. So Eric found these little gizzies. It looks like a normal zip tie, but it actually has a screw hole in it. So you can screw it to a tree and then zip tie something to the tree. So now if, say, another tree falls on the line, this is a zip tie, so it'll just snap and it'll just fall to the ground. These are at Tractor Supply, and these are barn screws. I believe they're stainless, so it shouldn't affect the tree at all. And again, I don't like putting screws and stuff into trees, but it's kind of hard to get around that when you're attaching line. Anyway, this is going to have to come down. All of these are going to have to come down, and that especially is going to have to come down. Now, Eric was saying that he wants no more than 15 taps on a line, but it's a pain in the butt to run when all you see is green line and orange line and pink line. Just a mess. It's just a freaking mess. So, not gonna get any better with me complaining about it. I guess I'm just gonna have to dig right in and start figuring it out. running sap. Today we'd be making money. But we can't make money today because we are still in the process of losing money. And a lot of farming is proper planning and execution. And that is one thing that we grossly lack around here, is proper planning. Mostly because everything is still new. And every freaking year is completely different than the one before it. So every time we tap maple trees, we do it differently. We tap different trees, we use different taps, we use different equipment, we cook it down a little differently. Yep, possum footprints. So, because we're always doing it different, we always have to rethink how we're gonna do it. Which does mean greater loss of profit. But in theory, it also means greater potential profit. Because if you're doing your system better, then you're earning more money, in theory. Now with maple syrup, just like with, say, corn or soybeans, you're gonna have good years and you're gonna have bad years. But at least the weather today, right now, is beautiful sitting out here. Actually, I feel like just laying in the snow and taking a nap, which if you've never done before, you should try, because it's very refreshing to lay in the snow and take a nap. Provided you have snow pants on. If you have shorts on, it's probably not so much fun. Looking pretty good. Alright, so with all of these maple sap tubing connectors, it's really hard to just shove them on by hand. You can, but it's going to be really hard on your hands. So to get over that, there are companies that created these nifty little tools. $100, $125 actually, depending on where you buy it. But $100 or more for this little thing here. This is what it looks like. Now let me know exactly what this is. In case you couldn't tell, this is a pair of pliers combined with a pair of vice grips. And there's a little chunk of metal on one end and a nut that has been split in half. Pretty nifty, huh? Yeah, so this was actually one that Eric built. He saw the picture, didn't even have one in hand. He just saw the picture, knew what it did, and said, I can make that. And he did. And believe it or not, this was his first prototype. Yes, he did this one perfect the first time. Again, he didn't have the original to work with. He just looked at the picture, said, well, this is how it needs to work, and he did it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna stick the maple tubing in this little slot right here, clamp it into place. And then this thing right here is going to push this little connector into the tubing. I mean, you do have to have some good grip strength, but it works really well. So I will show you. So you want this on super tight. There. See that? Hopefully you can see that. So that is how it operates. Just like that. Pretty cool, huh? There. Okay. So, you see how that works right there? So, this one right here is for another line to plug into. Alright, so I got the first line run, connected, and gradiated out. So it's this one right here that you saw me working on before. So he went through and he's got good gradient. I mean, you can see the tubing sloping downward. So I kind of am working on having a mix of lots of gradient versus just a little gradient. Like right here, there's a lot of gradient. But it's also going to be shooting around this corner here, which is a pretty tight corner. Then a decent amount of gradient here. And then A lot more there, and it kind of slopes off here a little bit and kind of tapers down here. Oh, that was funny because looking from here to here, this looks almost like it's higher than this. But we'll go ahead and put this up here. Just very gently set it up there. Now you can see that it has just a slight amount of gradient. We could raise them up, because this one I think has a lot. Not very much there either, according to this. So the nice thing is, it's real easy just to adjust it a little bit. You don't have to be overly concerned about getting it perfect. See, right now it looks like it's just barely gradient. But that's okay, because we have a lot of gradient to play with up there. I mean, we can scoot these lines all over if we want to. Because when we tap, we're not going to be tapping straight down to the line. It's not going to be tensioned. It's going to have a little bit of loop to it, a little bit of give. So, let's see. Yep, so that's got a little bit. Just a little bit of a gradient. That's got a little bit of a gradient. So, and this could change once they get full of sap too. So this definitely isn't going to be set it up and forget about it. See, there's a lot of gradient right here, which is funny because it doesn't really look like it from that tree to that tree. Alright, so anyway, here's the rest of our gradient going all the way down, and you can see where it taps into the line down here. That it's at a good spot. I mean, from right here down is actually really good gradient. So I could suck this back up if I wanted to. And you can see the bubbles all the way to the end. And that's fine. That's not a problem. But it just means I've got gradient to work with. And you can see it. It comes right out there. So let me show you this new little nifty, there's another line. Nifty little tool that Eric created. And this is the big expensive, was it $200 or $300 to have one of these bought?
Between $200 and $300. But they're more of a hand tool.
They're more of a hand tool? Oh, it's different than this. So this is Eric's design on an in-line splicer, if you will. So let me show you from right here. So all this is a vice clamp. Is that what that is?
Mm-hmm.
Vice clamp. C-clamp. And then we have two vice grips. Sorry, my brain's going. Vice grips. So you basically use the vice grips to hold your line so it doesn't spring back apart, because this has got extreme tension on it right now. And then he's got this nifty little way of tightening it quickly. Look at that.
Go.
Oh, you're not lined up. Watch this. Isn't that sweet? It did take him. Yeah, then you just unclamp it. And then we have. It's not releasing.
Release.
There, look at that. Now this whole thing is fully tensioned.
And then you take the end of your tap and you put it on this to keep any crap from getting in there.
Yeah, so look at that. So when you're all done at the end of the season and you take your taps out of the trees, you just plug them up on the back end here. But the other advantage is if you have a tree that's gone bad, like say a red maple or a silver maple, you can pull it out and then stick this on, and it should keep the vacuum pressure because it's not going to be sucking up this anymore.
Yeah, so then when you're ready to tap, you pull that off, drill your hole.
And you tap it up into the tree.
Put your tap up.
It flows on down and flows on down the line. So I decided to show you that really quick before Eric had to leave, but he invented this whole thing himself, and it's not quite like the professional one, but it works perfectly, and he built it for under $25. Good deal.
So with this design, what we find out here, I might make another one. I actually have a smaller C-clamp and some smaller pliers, so it'll be a little easier to handle. But this next set, I'm going to weld up towards the head a little closer. That way it will push. It will want to push more straight.
And what size is the nut?
So
that
what we
you're
had to do
using?
back here, I had to weld on a slide. So it's kind of like more like a vise. So then they slide together. So it's just a work in progress, you know.
What size is your little nut thing right here?
I'm not 100. I think they were. I don't remember.
You just started trying different nuts and then try to see like.
Yeah, and then I found out on the single hand tools that we need to drill these a little bit bigger. So, but it works pretty good. Holds the line.
Yeah, and then
it's
you
better than $200.
Right, $200 or $300. Heck yeah, so if it busts after a season, you just go through and make another one. This one was a pain in the butt to make, but...
And you can kind of use it, you know, by yourself. You know, if you hold it up here and...
Yeah, so...
She'll figure it out.
Good deal. Until next time, guys, take care, and I hope your projects are going a lot better for you. Love you. Don't forget to click the thumbs up. Bye.